Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing good. Welcome to the class. In last class, we have learnt about nutrients, what is nutrition, and modes of nutrition. In modes of nutrition, we have learnt about autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. In autotrophic nutrition, the organisms which can prepare their own food are called autotrophs. So, the best example is plants. We already discussed that the plants prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis that we have discussed. So, in today's class, students, we are going to learn about heterotrophic nutrition in plants. The plants which cannot prepare their own food, they depend on other plants or animals are called heterotrophs. Here we can see different types of heterotrophic nutrition in plants. The first type is parasitic plants. Why a few plants depend on other plants or animals for their food? Because they do not prepare their own food. Why they cannot prepare their own food? Because they cannot perform photosynthesis. Why they cannot perform photosynthesis? Because they do not have chlorophyll in their leaves. Already you know the plant leaves have chlorophyll pigment. This chlorophyll uses the sunlight, carbon dioxide and water to prepare carbohydrates. So here the parasitic plants, they do not have chlorophyll and so they cannot prepare their own food. So these plants, they depend on other plants for their nutrients. So the plants which take nutrients from another living plants are called parasitic plants. That means these plants, they live inside the body of another plant. So the plants which live on other plants are called parasite, and on which this parasite is living, that plant is called host. So for this, the example is dodder plant or cuscuta plant. You can see in the image, students, it is very thin and it looks like wires. This is cuscuta. You can see the yellow color, thin and wire-like structure, that is cuscuta, that is parasite. If you look at carefully, they are not in green color also. So these plants, they cannot prepare their own food. That is why it is living in a green color plant. So this green color plant is host. This host plant is going to perform photosynthesis. So it prepares food. So cuscuta obtain its food from the host. Now the question is, how can it obtain food from the host? These plants have root-like structures that penetrate into the stem of the host plant, and these plants derive all the nutrients from the host. You can see in the image, the green plant is host. This is a parasite. Okay, students? Yes. Now we will move on to the next type of heterotrophic nutrition, that is insectivorous plants. From the name itself, you come to know these plants depend on insects. For example is pitcher plant. In this type of plants, leaves are modified into structures that help to trap the insects. If you see in the image, the leaf modified into a jar-like structure, that is pitcher and lid. So now whenever the insect goes inside the picture, immediately the lid will be closed, and also the picture releases digestive juices. Once the insect falls in this picture, these digestive juices of the picture kills the insect and nutrients of the insect absorbed by the picture. In this way, the pitcher plant gets nutrients from the insects. And one more example we have, that is Venus plant. And here one more important thing, that is these plants depend on insects and also they can perform photosynthesis. This is alternative mode of nutrition in these plants. They are autotrophic and heterotrophic also. Now I will show you the images of pitcher plant and Venus plant. When the insects goes inside the pitcher plant, the lid of the pitcher plant automatically will be closed, and these insects will be killed by the digestive juices which are produced by the pitcher plant. In the same way, you can see in this image, this is Venus plant. When the insects comes, how it is closing and how it is trapping. Yes, this is all about insectivorous plants. Now we will move on to the next type of heterotrophic nutrition, that is saprotrophic nutrition. So here, what is meaning of sapro? Sapro means dead or decaying matter. So the organisms which obtain their food from dead and decaying matter are called saprotrophs. So the dead bodies are eaten by saprotrophs. So the example is fungi. You might have seen mushrooms. Mushrooms are the best examples for fungi. These mushrooms feed on dead and decaying matter. Now, where do we see commonly fungi? We can see on any rotten food like rotten tomatoes, rotten bread, rotten fruits, on leather also, and clothes also we can see. So fungi, they follow saprotrophic nutrition. Most of the fungi, they follow saprotrophic nutrition. That is one type of heterotrophic nutrition. And some of the fungi are parasitic. That means they live in the host. For example, like if you see in humans, skin infections, those are all fungal infections. Now, some fungi exist in symbiotic relationship with other organisms. Now, what is meaning of symbiotic relationship? In symbiotic relationship, the fungi lives inside the body of another organism and obtain some benefits from the organism, and that organism also derive some benefits from the fungi. So it is like mutual benefit or mutual relationship. This type of relationship is called symbiotic relationship or symbiosis. So symbiosis is nothing but is an association between two or more organisms where the organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrients. So the example for symbiosis is lichen. Lichen is the name given to symbiotic relationship between alga and fungi. That means algae and fungi. Now, what is algae? Algae is a group of aquatic organisms that have the ability to conduct photosynthesis. You might have seen ponds with green grass like layer on its surface. That is nothing but algae. You can see in the image, this is nothing but algae. The green patches like grass type, that is on the surface of the water. This is algae. In lichen, the fungi and algae both together they live in symbiosis and they share shelter and nutrients. We have one more example for symbiotic relationship, students. I will explain you within time. Just 1 minute. Now one more concept is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. So you know plants absorb nutrients and water from the soil. So the nutrients in the soil automatically decreases. Then the farmer should add manure or fertilizers to the soil to increase the fertility of the soil. And also here we have symbiotic relationship between bacterium and plant. So how this symbiotic relationship helps to the farmers. So here the bacterium called rhizobium which lives in the roots of leguminous plants. Leguminous plants are like grams, peas, beans, etc. So this bacterium converts nitrogen from the air into soluble form in the soil and makes the soil rich in nitrogen. So now why the plant need nitrogen? We know the plants prepare carbohydrates, but we get carbohydrates, proteins, fats, all these things from the plants. So protein mainly contains nitrogen. So plants not only carbohydrates, they prepare proteins also. So this bacterium converts that nitrogen in the soluble form and it provides to the plant. So in return, the plant provides food and shelter to the bacteria. So they have a symbiotic relationship. So bacterium and a leguminous plant is an example for symbiotic relationship, and also this symbiotic relationship helps to the farmer. How it helps? Fields in which leguminous plants are grown from time to time do not need addition of nitrogenous fertilizers, because where we grow leguminous plants there will be bacterium. That bacterium converts nitrogen from the atmosphere to soluble form into the soil. So that time the farmers no need to add extra nitrogenous fertilizers to the soil. In this way this relationship helps to the farmers. So I hope students you are clear about this chapter nutrition in plants. Thank you students.